Let's see how today goes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to Middle Grade Monthly. And it has been a little less than a month, I think, since the last one. So it hasn't been too long. It hasn't felt as long as it did the time before that. It felt ages before that. Now it doesn't
Even
feel.
though the time
Yeah,
before that was the shortest gap
yeah.
between them ever.
But October was a month.
It was.
October was a month. So
Yeah.
we got a bit weird with that one. However, I feel like both of us are pretty feeling okay, feeling
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent. So hi everyone in the chat. Thank you for coming. Um oh final book. Well, hopefully you too finish it. We'll not talk about spoilers just yet or anything. So if you want to chill for a bit, just talk for a little bit, that's fine. You don't have to go just yet, Maya. But yeah, hi everyone. I say people have already been talking about Sophie Anderson's books in the chat, so that's nice.
Always a good way to start.
It really is actually. Oh, and of course, Pris talking about the new Keepers of the Lost Cities book.
Of course.
Oh, get a new favorite, Pris. Change the Bleeman record. What Bleeman? Bleeding record.
Blooming.
Can't see. Bleeman. Yeah.
Blooming. Bleeding. Blooming.
I've
Blooming.
got. I promise I'm not drinking prosecco tonight. We don't want any accidents. But I am having a coffee. So hopefully I'll be a bit more cohesive.
Have a
and
Coke.
you have a coke.
I
Cheers.
always have a Coke. There is nothing new in my life.
Yeah. It's either for you it's coke. For me it's either coffee or a drink, as in an alcoholic beverage.
Beveragino.
Beverage, you know. So we usually start off talking about what we're going to read next month, but me and Jade have decided to do something a little bit different for December, just to give you guys a little bit of a break. So there isn't no
There
book
isn't
in.
a book for December. No, we're having a month off. You can read whatever you want in December. Treat yourself in the Christmas spirit. No pressure to read an additional book at all. We're just going to get together as we normally would towards the end of the month. But instead of discussing a particular book, we're going to look back on the year, reminisce, go over like what our favorite books from Middle Grade Monthly 2020 have been. What our least favorites might have been. Reminisce.
I feel like what would be fun is if we did a ranking. So we start with our least favorite, where like we both say what it is. But I want everyone as well. So anybody who's in the chat, have a think about it, and let us know in the next live show. We'll all go through our like least favorite to our favorite. I feel like that'll be pretty good. And then we can talk about what we loved about them, like just like very briefly. And then talk about middle grade in general for 2020. It can be a really festive middle grade kind of live show. I don't know if it's going to be before or after Christmas, or are we thinking Christmas jumpers or anything?
Always.
Yeah. Even if it's after Christmas, could be a Christmas jumper night. Yeah,
I'm down.
we're down for this. And May, I was talking about Castle Tangle Magic, not the Crooked Sixpence. So you can stay. Yay! I'm glad. Pris, I think we all know what the least favorite is. It's going to be funny. I can't wait. And if you've missed any as well, I mean, you can always spend a little time reading ones that you might have missed on. I would recommend doing that unless it's one of our least favorites, and maybe not. To
be fair, I think there's probably only 2 that we've read that I would say don't bother with. The rest of them, I still think, even if they've only been 3-star reads or something, I still think they're worth it. There's only 2 that I've been like,
yeah. I think same, actually. I think it's 2. Yeah. Anyway, so the topic of today is The Crooked Sixpence by Jennifer Bell, by the lovely Jennifer Bell, by the way. Jennifer Bell is incredible, amazing. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I did interview Jennifer Bell last night. She's absolutely lovely. We barely talked about the books, to be honest. All we really did was we ended up talking about each other. We ended up asking like silly questions a lot of the time.
So it was more like a date than an interview then.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. The best date I've ever been on. So, yeah, that was really good. So if anybody wants to catch up on that, you absolutely can. She's lovely. But yeah, we're talking about The Crooked Sixpence. So we usually start off asking people their ratings, right?
Yes.
Yes. Say, I'm back in the game. So let us know what you guys rated it, and we let you know our rating. So Jade, what did you give it?
So it came out at a 4-star for me. Obviously, I won't give you my specific core pile. We'll do that later. But 4-star overall, and I think it was a very solid 4-star read. Like, it was consistent. It was solid. I recommend at a 4-star. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I would like 100% agree. Especially, I don't know about you, Jade, but like a lot of well, actually, I do know because I watch the channel. But like a lot of like starts of series, like it's very hard for me to give the first book in a series a 5-star unless it like really blows me away. And with this one, like it was a fantastic book and it's a great start of a series, but I can see it as the start of a series. So I'm like, I mean, we'll talk about all of this, but yeah, I don't love the characters just yet. I want to like grow and learn with them, and I want to see them develop, things like that. So definitely solid 4 stars. And yeah, so Hannah hasn't read the book just yet. That's fine. We'll not spoil anything just yet, so it can stay for a bit. 4-star from Mindy, gave it 4 stars. Pris gave it 4 stars. 5 stars from Tracy. It was wicked. It is, to be fair. 4.5. Oh, I wonder why you didn't give it the full 5. Like 4.5 is just like so close. Like, what was it? Why deduct the 0.5 is what I want to know. High 4 from Sabrina. 4 stars. Oh, the doggy came to join. Lovely. Lovely. Oh, the audiobook was really fun. Where did you listen to the audiobook? Because I could not find an audiobook for it. It wasn't on Scribd. It wasn't on Audible. It might be an American thing, maybe. But I don't know. I couldn't find it myself because I could have used it, but I just read it physically. Just got here. Kayla also gave it 4 stars, and Mia gave it 4 stars. So we have like nobody has given it less than a 4 stars so far. That's actually really good.
This could be a first.
Yeah, there's always like a few people who give it like a different rating to us. Like, say if we give it a low rating, a lot of people agree. But this is like the most consistent I've seen a rate. And watch somebody come in now and be like 2 stars. Be like, no. Remove the Libby app. That's where I got it from. And in the US, I thought so. I couldn't spot it in the UK. We might have a 3-star here. Malene read it some time ago. Read all 3. Must say, book 2 was my favorite. So it's you know what? As well, this came out around about the same time as Polar Bear Explorers Club as well. I think like 2016ish. And I felt like there was a lot of like middle grade trilogies that came out around about then.
I think like the Perfect trilogy is another one that was around that time.
They love themselves a middle grade trilogy. They do, but it's comforting to know that, you know, like book 2 is also stellar. Not quite there yet. First in series. Sometimes they are like a 5-star, as we know, Frostheart and Brightstorm and things like that. You know, and Pocken and Stubbs. But you know, it is hard. It is hard when it's the first. It's got a lot of world building to do and all of that jazz. 5 from Judith. Excellent. I love to see it.
Yeah.
Demra read all of them for Believe-a-thon. I think he gave it 5 stars. Then made most books 5. You know what? That's not an issue. Yeah. If you know that you enjoy it, I'd rather read all 5-star books than anything less, really. That's ideal.
Brian's just started having a disco.
Oh, yes. Oh, I can hear it now.
You are in sync with that music. Can you hear it?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And I kind of like it.
I'm sorry. I can't control him.
It's all good. It's all good. I love how Jake always has like some kind of presence in these live shows. He's like the 4th middle grade monthly host. You know, we've got me, you, Pris, and Jake.
No, it's not Jake, it's Brian.
Oh, Brian.
Not even in my house.
Okay, me, you, Pris, and Brian.
And Brian, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at him round. Raver Jades. Love it. Also Mindy said like book 2 better as well. Keep of the Lost Cities, that could always be a choice for a future middle grade monthly pick, maybe.
Don't give her that option. You know
I
she
know.
will shut up about it.
Yeah, because imagine if I mean, I have read it, but I feel like I could do with a reread. It's been a little while now, and I think I gave it 3 stars. Imagine if you hated it. Imagine what Pris would say. Oof.
I need to read it for that reason.
Yeah, I would love to say that. I'd love to say that. But yeah, we'll discuss like what we'll pick for like January and everything. Well, we'll discuss it. It's all good. Plenty of time. So yeah, did I say what I gave this book? I did, didn't I? 4 stars.
4 stars, yeah.
Yeah, 4
Yeah.
stars. So I mean, everyone's pretty much in agreement that it's a very strong 4-star solid book. So general thoughts, I guess, before we go into like the core pile and breakdown, just general overall thoughts. I really enjoyed. I think what I loved the most probably was the world and the imagination of it.
Yeah.
The setting was.
Agree.
And there isn't a core pile rating thing for this, but the illustrations by Carl James Mountford, like I mean, that man, the talent, he can do no wrong. What I would have loved to have seen was more illustration. That's the only thing. There was like bits dotted here and there, but there
was some towards the end that I loved, like that one. I love that one.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, that's very nice.
And I feel like there were a lot more of them towards the end than there were at the beginning.
Yeah, and they were more like smaller ones. I think there was only 2 full-page or like 3 full-page illustrations, because there was this one like when they first see Londoner, and I felt like that's like a really beautiful illustration.
When they first find the doors.
Yes. Which Seb looks so much taller than her, but he is like 3 years older than her, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish it was like more full-page illustrations. I really do. Because the same with Popkin and Stubbs. That one had such a unique world, and that I think really benefited from being illustrated. And it was the same with Londoner. I feel like with Londoner, that was a rather unique place. It's set under London.
It is just
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at the gates, like where the gates are. There's the 2 people
over the gates.
Like seriously, it's Carl James Mountford. Like he gets Jennifer Bell's words. Like that's how I would picture it, you know. Oh, they get fewer in the next books. Oh no, that's not what I want to hear. Don't say that. But yeah, if there was a option for illustrations in core pile, I would give that a 10, because even though there was like not as many of them, it whet my appetite. They are just so good. So yeah, I thought we would like start.
How I feel about every book illustrated by Carl James Mountford. It's just he just does it right.
He does. He absolutely does, and that I've pretty much finished my hazelnut latte already. We're only 13 minutes in. Gosh.
Let's hope you don't need the toilet.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope otherwise you'll not even know about it. Anyway, should we go into character breakdown? I mean core pile breakdown. Core pile breakdown. We'll have Brian on the mic, you know, in the background doing the proper breakdown. We'll start with characters. So we'll chat about characters. Everyone in the comments, let us know who your favorite characters were and everything. But for me, I gave characters an 8.
7.
Have you been watching Strictly? No. I was gonna say I watched that before this live show. I usually give first books in a series, especially with characters, around about a 7 as well.
Yeah.
I think the reason I gave characters an 8 in this was mainly for me, probably because of Ivy. I feel like I say this with every middle grade monthly book, but most of them have had a really strong protagonist. Yeah. And with Ivy, I felt like she was so like she adapted to the world quite well. And at first, I thought she's adapting to it too well, and like she doesn't like she's learning really quickly. And I thought this feels like it might be a bit unrealistic. And then I mean, spoilers now, we're going into spoiler territory.
Yeah.
But then we find out that she is an uncommoner and it's in her blood. It kind of started to make more sense to me. So like her character developed, and then the things that seemed less likely to begin with made more sense. And I was like, oh, I can see why she could adapt to it so quickly and why she was very good at like figuring out, and especially with Scratch the Bell, like the mention Scratch
Yeah.
the Bell. She could like really understand him. Sometimes I couldn't. It was like, yeah, it's like, what the hell's going on here? But she could, and I was like, at first I thought that was a bit unrealistic. So I was like, logic's going to take a bit of a hit here, because I thought
didn't affect me. I didn't so much think, oh, that's not logical that she would think that, because I was seeing it from a, you know, she is a young child, and like the kind of quarrel between her and her brother beforehand was about how she's like always seeing things and imagining things and being crazy. So I just saw that as kind of like her childish nature is a benefit in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, children, they always say children see the world in a totally different way. Mm-hmm. And that's what I liked about her and Seb, because even though they were siblings, they were kind of at odds a lot of the time as well, even though they definitely worked better together towards the end. In fact, this was like mainly Ivy. This was like definitely more Ivy than Seb. But it reminded me of Jungle Drop by Abby Elphinstone. This came out first, so like there was like no copyright or anything. But like the siblings in Jungle Drop are always at each other, and I love seeing that, especially with siblings, because it felt quite real in that regard. Not all siblings get along, and they're not always, you know, holding hands and it's all rainbows and things. So it was really nice to see that. And we didn't really get a lot of Seb in relation to Ivy. So I think because that dynamic between them was done so well, also why I gave characters an 8. And yeah, I don't know what you felt about Seb.
I agree with a lot of the things that you said, but I think the reason that it's that little bit lower for me is because I don't think we got enough of Seb. Like, as you say, it was very much the Ivy show. And I think the sequel may potentially focus more on him, because in the cover, this one obviously has got the little portrait of Ivy. The sequel has the portrait of Seb. So I wonder if that is because he's more prominent in that one, maybe. So I imagine my character rating going up further in the series as I get to know them more and become more attached with them. But yeah, I just felt like I didn't get to know Seb enough, didn't get to spend enough time with him to give it anything higher than that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Would you say then, like with the side characters, so away from them, we had like Vivian, Vivian, who you love to call Vivian, and did you like Valian?
I did, but again, I don't feel like I got to know very much about him. He was very secretive and elusive, and I don't feel like any great reveal really happened there as to why. I still feel like a lot of his motives were a bit weak. But as a side character, as a like addition to help them along on their quest, he, you know, served his purpose.
Yeah, there was some like moments for me where I thought maybe he would betray like Ivy, or like he would like reveal himself to be a villain, and I'm kind of glad that didn't happen, because I feel like I've seen that quite a few times in middle grade recently, which sometimes it's done like really, really well, but I just didn't want that to happen here, because I wanted to see his story develop. As you said, we didn't get enough of his motivation, or I mean, there were like little breadcrumbs of his character rather than us getting something to really sink our teeth into. So there was, I think, that story. I mean, I felt really bad for him because he'd lost his parents and his sister had gone missing, and I'd love to like know more about that. But for this book alone, it definitely didn't give me enough of him to feel too invested in what happened to him. It still added to the intrigue and stuff, but it was definitely a lot more focused on Ivy and how she adapted to the world. Malene said, I don't think it was unrealistic. Some children are so adaptable. They're so better than adults to do that. Yeah, they accept the deal, the accept and deal thing instead of blind saying no and ignoring things in front of them. Yeah, that's true. I don't know if it's like because I've seen it so many times in like middle grade where I just think even as like a kid, and maybe I'm just being too cynical, but like when I'm thinking like a child in this world, if they suddenly stumbled into another world, like would they be so adept? They probably would, but I probably a bit more cynical. I'm not giving children enough credit, kind of thing, to be able to adapt in that way.
Yeah.
And Aline also said in book two, we much more of Seb, but Ivy is still front character. Okay. As long as we see more of him, it's like
Yeah.
a bit more of an equal screen time kind of thing. But Pris, lovely. So also here, why do I always love characters who are not people in books, like Fen from Nevermore, Scratch, the cat from Ghost Squad? Was there also Spoon from the Wizards of One series as well? We loved a bit of Spoon.
There's definitely a thing. I'm sure that it has an actual name. This thing where people tend to like the characters that aren't the people.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like actually a thing.
Yeah, there's a word for it. Yeah.
I don't know what that word is, but there is a word for it. It is a thing. And you're not weird for doing that. It is a thing. A lot of people like characters that aren't the characters.
Yeah. So if anybody finds out, please let us know in the comments, because I'll end up Googling this after this and finding out, because I need to know now. But what do you think then about the villains? Because we had like
Selena Gomez.
Yes. Selena Gomez, who, great singer and all, but as a villain, we had, because I was really intrigued. So firstly, I mean, I'm not talking about intrigue, but at the start, I wasn't sure who the villain was going to be, because it was very mysterious. There was like the note that was left about them being watched, and that was like really scary. So I thought there's going to be some kind of like really scary villain or villains. And then it turned out to be a whole guild, and they use poisons as the names. And I thought that was really, really cool. But also, I mean, this is going like so far into like the book and stuff, but when, what's his name again? Cartamo, he is like also like an orchestrator of a lot of the bad events and things.
Yeah.
I wasn't like the biggest fan of him. I definitely like Selena more. I don't know if it's because she presented herself as a villain more, and like she had all the characteristics more, like she was more in control. He seemed just a lot more spiteful, and I don't know, like a bit of a caricature of a villain, whereas Selena was a bit more, I don't know, more graceful as a villain, but like not. But like she's like the kind of villain I would root for, because like I don't want the villain to win, obviously, but I love it when they have like an actual enemy who challenges the protagonist. And I just didn't feel like Cardamore was that, but Selena was. But I love, I loved the whole guild idea of it, though. The fact that there was the whole, like the whole band of these really villainous people. What were they called though? Because it was a guild. It was,
they were Dirge, weren't they?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. I love that idea, and I will absolutely cannot wait to see where that goes. Jade, I think your screen's frozen. I'm going to take a screenshot because it looks hilarious. There we go. Unless it's me who's frozen. I've taken a screenshot. It's hilarious. I can hear you though. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Am I frozen or are you frozen? I think it's
I don't
me.
know.
It's normally me.
It might be me because I'm in my bedroom. Can people in the chat let us know? It might be me.
Sounds like a robot.
I think it's me. It might be me.
Right.
It might still be me as well because I'm in my bedroom. Okay. Sorry, guys. We love a bit of tech. I loved it. I took a screenshot of when Jade froze as well because it was frozen on a really funny moment. It was hilarious. I think Jade might be moving room, and yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Oh wait, it's a family friendly live show. Yeah, it's the Gavin show. Gavin show. It's always the Gavin show up in here. Um, that's okay, Jade. If you have to go into another room, if you have to restart the laptop, don't worry. I will continue chatting. So, guys, I did say let's talk about the villains then still, because the whole series has great development and twists, and is so great when you have the whole picture so you understand the frustrations of missing information. That's the thing. I bet you I would absolutely fly through this again and reread it and like read all of them in a row. Um, and I feel like that always happens with me anyway, especially when I'm watching like a TV show or like reading an entire book series. I usually do pick up on it better when I already know the information first. Sometimes, and I don't always do this, but sometimes I'll look up spoilers of TV shows when I'm watching them so I know what's coming. Um, and yeah, that's like, yeah, I know that's terrible to do, but anthropomorphism. Is that when you more prefer the characters that aren't people? Is that what anthropomorphism? It sounds about right. The anthro part sounds right. Am I still live? What's going on? Oh, good, good. The comments come through like really late as well. On StreamYard, it comes through so late. So I'm sorry, naughty Gavin. I know I shouldn't do the spoiler lookups, but I do. So I don't do that for books, though. I don't do that for books. Don't worry, I do not do that for books. But yeah, guys, we are. Ooh, hello.
I've had to take you onto my phone. My laptop's just like not having it.
I bet you know what it probably is. Your laptop will be so overworked. I'm sure you've done like lots of like lives in the past few months, and it needs a break. It needs a break.
It's had enough. It
It's
just
had enough.
no matter what web page I go on, it's just like, nope, you have no
Nope,
internet
nope.
connection. Like clearly I have an internet connection because I have one here, but my laptop's just gone.
Laptops are naughty one. It's fine. It's all good.
I don't know if I can see the comments on here.
If I bring it up, can you see it? Like,
yes.
Can you see that on the screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see those ones. That's fine.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good.
Sorry.
It's all good. I got to have the spotlight for a change. So yeah, we were talking about villains and stuff, and there was a comment by Malene before saying that when you get the full picture, like the whole series, it definitely has a lot of great development and twists.
Okay.
So that's good. But also the villain was okay, not the best and scary, but great. Like the guild villain thing. I like when there's like more than one. I like that. There's just more potential in a series, you know. So it's not like there are some books that have like a big bad at each book and it's like a different person each time. I feel like this one will be able to have people in the rest of them who we've seen or heard from from the very beginning, rather than just throwing in a random villain every now and then just to up the ante, you know. So yeah. Has the laptop gone out the window then, Jade? No, it's still there. She still needs it.
It's still there. I just think, you know what? I haven't turned it off in about 3 weeks.
Oh, okay, yeah. It needs a day off.
I think because when I just shut the lid, I'm like, I need that exact thing again tomorrow. So I shut the lid and just leave it there. So maybe it needs like a hard restart, and I just haven't done one in a long time.
Yeah, it needs to cool down. That probably means that you won't have your core pile ratings on hand, but you might remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep you right.
I was gonna say I could get my iPad, but it's not in this room. We'll work it out. I know it was.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. So then I guess because we have talked quite a bit about characters, then let's talk about atmosphere. Which I also gave an 8.
An 8. Yeah, I know. I gave that an 8.
Yeah, we're on level with that one. Any particular reason?
it takes me back to the setting thing, although setting isn't a point in Core Pile. Atmosphere and setting very much go hand in hand, and that like busy market vibe with the market being separated into quarters and stuff, and just the image of the station as well, and the bustling around the station and the guy selling the candles with the cardboard sign and stuff. Like, it just, there was so much in that atmosphere for me. It felt so real.
Yeah, and I felt it kept it up all the way through as well, because even I think there was a moment when they escaped was it Small Cart?
Smoke Heart, yeah.
Yes. And they end up going into like this abandoned shop and all of this. And like you learn little bits about the world like throughout, just from like little bits like you know, like shop names, and also you okay there? Yay!
My phone is crackling now.
It's crackling because it's like the combo's crackling, you know.
Can you hear the crackling? Because if you can't, I can deal with it.
I can hear it, but do you need to put headphones in? Maybe was that going to help, or?
I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, Gavin. My laptop's back up, so let's try this again.
Yeah, let's save the combo for then. So I'm not. Oh, I think the crackling's gone.
The crackling's gone, and my laptop is back on.
Hey, two Jades.
I'm here from all angles.
Oh shit! I accidentally removed you as well.
Oh, what a disaster! But we're back up.
Yay!
Oh no, we're not.
Oh, are we not? Oh no! I love it. I keep taking screenshots of when Jade freezes. Hang on. There we go. That was freaky though, wasn't it? When there was two Jades on the screen, that was hilarious. Yeah. Oh, I know, poor Jade.
Ugh.
Oh.
I've moved.
Oh, and it works perfectly.
Jesus Christ, I don't know what's going on.
It just doesn't want us to talk about the Crooked Sixpence, obviously.
Bear with.
Okay. Stop enjoying yourself, Gav. I do love it when I get all of the spotlight. What can I say? I've done this on purpose. I've sabotaged Jade. I have. This is all me. The Jade show. Yeah, to be fair, like now it's all about Jade and her tech problems. Like, oh, hello, Jade.
Hi, I am so sorry.
It's fine. Seriously, it's fine.
In this room, but we'll just roll with it.
It's all good. So we were talking about atmosphere and stuff. So we kept seeing little bits and bobs of the world, and I love it when there's details, like when Seb and Ivy and Valiant go and escape from the constable, and they go to like this abandoned shop that has like a name, and there was like descriptions about the window and how dusty and how like horrible like that was, and it just added to like the hustle and bustle of the market, as you were saying. Like there were like lots of different parts to this world, and some of it's lovely, some of it's not, and it just I thought it was like such a well-built world, and it really helped with the descriptions. I think that this was quite a descriptive middle grade.
Mm-hmm.
And all the creative magical beings, yes, especially there was loads of them. I loved the ghouls and like the whole how it had the West End, the East End, the Dead End. I loved that so much. And I think it just added to the overall atmosphere, because it just felt like this world was becoming more real as the book went on, and with the whole series as well, just bigger and better. And yeah. Did you have a favorite creature, like your favorite magical being?
What was the Guardian guy? And he could like shapeshift.
Oh,
end.
Yeah, it began with a T. I remember that. I'm sure it began with a P. Or was it a P?
I think it was a P. Why can I not remember? It wasn't even that long ago.
Mr. Punch.
Mr. Punch, yes. But
Yeah.
what creature was he? He did say.
Was it a Selkie?
No, the Selkies were the like wet, slimy, dead ones.
No, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Oh, a hob.
A hob. Yeah,
A hob.
that was it.
Yeah, they're made from more than one soul, and our appearance can change. Oh,
That guy.
love him. I love him.
Yeah, I liked him. And it turns out that he was the guy with the cardboard sign with the candles. I thought that was great.
It was a great touch, that, and it made it, because it's like those like Christmassy films, you know, when it turns out the rando at the start turns out to be Santa, kind
Yeah.
of like that.
Love it.
I love that. Yeah. But yeah, Mr. Punch is great. I love like the introduction of like the hellhounds at the end. Like that was rather scary. So I like that. Oh, Wraith Moths, those as well. Yeah. I wouldn't say they're my favorite, but they were quite intimidating.
They were interesting characters. It was all very creative. Yeah.
Oh, so creative. And seriously, the fact that like Jennifer Bell wrote this on her work breaks as well, like breaks at work, like what a legend. What an absolute legend. I couldn't even write this if I had all the time in the world, let alone in our dinner breaks. Oh, this is a good question. Which uncommon item would you want the most? Ooh.
I had something I wanted to say about the uncommon items, and I don't know where it would fit. So now seems like a good place to
We
do
can
it.
talk about it now. Yeah.
A lot of the uncommon items, and when Ivy's trying to work out what the uncommon version of an item does, she goes through a very logical process of, oh, well, a normal version does this. So if we flip this on its head, then an uncommon version probably does this. And that tended to be right. However, every time that happened, I then come back to the lemon squeezers. How? A lemon squeezer squeezes lemons. So how does an uncommon lemon squeezer produce light? Because they don't seem connected at all. But everything else seems to be a common version does this, flip it, an uncommon version does this. Same with the toilet brushes, though. Like a toilet brush cleans a toilet, an uncommon one is a weapon.
I mean, you could smack someone over the head with a common brush, I guess. But yeah, it's like used to like scrub the toilet. But
It seemed very. I don't know, when they were first introduced to the uncommon items, it was there's no correlation. They just do uncommon things. But then as Ivy goes along, she then does this whole flip it on its head, that's what it must do thing. So I don't know.
Sabrina said lemon juice is very bright yellow. So maybe the color yellow, like the sun, maybe like the lemons could.
Is there some sort of connection between lemons and the sun that I'm unaware of?
Only the color. We should ask Jennifer this though. But that's a good question though. You're so right. There's usually like there's like logic in the illogicalness of it kind of thing. Yeah. Found the answer. Jade loves lemons and it brings light into her life. Yes, that's it. Oh, yeah, he has a good one as well. Light draws through photosynthesis, potentially where they are getting. Maybe we're reading too far into it.
That would make me think an actual lemon, not a lemon squeezer.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Because what they do is they slice it. So yeah, because the squeezer wouldn't be yellow. The lemon would.
No, the squeezer would be the plastic that you clamp down, isn't it?
Yeah, with the sharp bits.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I think you're right.
See, that was one of the things. I suppose that might have been good to come into in logic, because that was one of the bits where I was like, but why?
Yeah. Oh no, that's a good question. I didn't even think about that. So maybe Jade loves lemon squeezers and everything's like maybe. I do love when you I do love when you think that. I would also say I would probably like the toilet brush, because even though I guess that is a little bit illogical because it's not really a weapon. It's good. I have one not on me right now, but like it's like something that I would be able to just whip out. But yeah, that or the candle. Yeah.
I quite like the letter. I know the reason it was used in this was the sinister side of it, but the fact that this letter could like hide a whole secret room and this letter's the only how to get there.
Yeah, no, that's really cool as well.
Nice hideout place. You can make a den.
Yeah, or put your secret library in there so nobody can ever touch your books and stuff. Good, think up there for thinking.
Although I will also say the bath plug was pretty cool.
Yeah, this I can't wait to now see what else comes from like the books and things, like what other uncommon items and stuff. Yeah, okay, so let's move on to the writing then, which I also gave an 8.
I also gave an 8.
Yeah, it's like with this being a debut, and again, written during work breaks.
Of the fact that it was a debut when I was rating writing, that makes it even better.
Yeah, right. It's like, it's just so accessible, and just the fact that it's so imaginative, and you can really tell through the writing, like Jennifer Bell makes it such an exciting world through that. And I definitely would put it up there for like other debuts, like in terms of writing style. Like I got some Vashti Hardy vibes from it. I got some Peter Bunzel vibes from Cogheart. You know what I mean? Like other like really great, strong openings.
Yeah.
So it definitely felt like it deserves to be among those ranks.
Completely agree.
Yeah. We got a few 8s here as well. 8, 8.5, 7, which is great because like we live for it. And also we both read Wonderscape first. So that was her like more recent one. So it was nice to see like the roots of her writing, because I remember Wonderscape being so fun and lively and quite an imaginative world as well. And she had no problems with world building in that. So it was really nice to see like, this was like the beginning. I don't think a lot has changed since then. I mean, she's gotten better.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Despite the fact that this is a debut with many years between this and Wonderscape, it doesn't feel like much has changed. She's always been a very strong writer from what I've read of it, because the imagination and the world building is so strong.
Yeah, exactly. And Pris said as well, like she didn't like skim, which she tends to do. Naughty, you should not skim. But like I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do that as well. But I didn't feel like I could with this one. One, because I was so invested, and two, I just didn't want to miss the details that Jennifer would put into certain parts of it, and that definitely came through in the writing. And I feel like Cece read Wonderscape first. Oh damn, you need to read Wonderscape. It's so good. I can't believe that 2 years until the next one comes out. 2022. Oh, heartbroken. I know. But yeah, we can both attest to the fact that Jennifer Bell is such a good writer.
Something else I want to say in the comparison to Wonderscape, something that really struck me in Wonderscape was how fantastic the pacing was. Like there, and you just kept going, and I felt that again was very strong in this. The pacing was top notch. There were no like lulls in it. You started and you went for it, and I think that's another strong aspect of her writing across that she hasn't necessarily developed later. Like it was very present in this debut
from the very beginning. Yeah, exactly. And that leads nicely into plot, which I also gave an 8. Did you give that 7?
I also gave that an 8.
I think with that, what you were saying about how it was nicely, like the plot was up. Bye, Dem. Battery's at 1%. And the pacing, and like it just felt so well paced throughout. So we had like the beginning, and it was all being set up, and it felt like I was like so intrigued to discover this world and what the mystery was, especially about 12th Night. Like all of that was kind of set up at the beginning, and then it kept that mystery up throughout. And then we ended up like getting like quite a few revelations towards the end of it, but it felt very well structured to go from, the beginning, setting things up, discovering the world, exploring the world, and then getting some of the answers, like not all of the answers, but like a few of them. It definitely felt like the plot had it was quite a strong plot, and it was felt through the pacing, the writing as well. Yeah. And I feel like, You agree?
I agree. It was just really strong, and yeah, the pacing was strong, the plot was strong. I was intrigued.
Yeah.
It kept
Yeah.
my interest. It had a start, it had a middle, it had an end, and I was there for all of it. I didn't want to stop.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. And that's when you know that's got a really strong plot, is when it has sucked you in and it keeps you reading till the very end. I felt like if it had have lulled, as you said, I might have started skimming, but I didn't feel the need to at all either. Me, I gave Plot a 7, which is still a great rating, like 7 out of 10. It's like great for the first novel. 7. Oh god, I do love a bit of Strictly every now and then. Well, I guess we can probably talk more about plotting with intrigue, because I'd love to talk about the 12th night and stuff. So intrigue also gave it an 8.
I gave intrigue a 7.
Ooh.
But I'm willing to, be persuaded on this.
Maybe 7.5.
I don't do 0.5s. I don't do halves.
Yeah, that's fair. I only do it if I have so many on the same core pal rating, and I'm like, well, I enjoyed this just slightly more, so I'll give enjoyment like 8.5 just to give it a little boost. But for intrigue, so I was really intrigued about the whole 12th night 1969 premise of it, and what that had to do with their grandma. And because it was set up that she had like gone through something, and like she was in hospital, and like something had happened, and like that was evident from the very beginning. And then the parents go missing and get kidnapped or whatever. And then we also had the introduction of Valiant, and his parents are dead and his sister's missing. And then we had the build up with the guild, and there's just like the slower they were figuring it out, the more intrigued I was becoming, because I didn't know how each of those guilds, I think it was 6 of them, I didn't know how they would fit into the story. I didn't know what the 12th night 1969 deal was to begin with as well. I just had no idea what was going on. And then with the constable, he seemed so shady that I thought he would definitely have something to do with it. When it turned out he's a weird character, but like he didn't. It was more, I wasn't expecting it. I was like, yeah, I couldn't predict where that would go. So like, if it's a mystery and I figure it out, then intrigue, even if I'm intrigued to find out the answers, I probably wouldn't give it a strong rating. But because I couldn't really figure out what the 12th night entailed and what happened that night, or where was it the uncommon good as well? Like there's just that
good,
yeah, the great uncommon good, that item as well. What was that? I mean, we found out, but like
when they said what that was, like
yeah, like, but we didn't know what that was for like the longest time. And it just, yeah, I'm not making any sense, because like it's a bit of an incohesive thought. But also at the very beginning as well, with the note that was scribbled on the wall, the menacing note, I was like, we can see you now. And just like from the very beginning, it was just like all of this stuff was just so exciting. And I feel like that's why I gave intrigue an 8, was because it stayed exciting. It was very action packed, and yeah, it was so exciting.
I do agree. It was exciting, and I mean 7's not that much different.
No,
I do agree with everything that you've said. I don't know. I'm not quite at an 8 with it. It didn't intrigue me quite that much, but I still gave plot an 8. So I think it was a mix of the adventure aspect of it that brings plot a little bit up more for me, along with the intrigue still being incredibly strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not quite at that 8 mark, and I don't think I could necessarily tell you why. It's
just a gut feeling, isn't it? It's just...
yeah. And a lot of my core pile ratings are just me going, where do I feel like that belongs?
6, 7, 6, 8. Yeah. Like I'm the same way.
Something that kind of wound me up a little bit with the intrigue was the dirge. Is it pronounced dirge? I don't know.
I feel like it should be, because that's probably. It's just the way it's spelled is how I would say dirge.
Anyway, the thing that wound me up is the dirge's insistency that Ivy knows where the great uncommon good is, and she doesn't. She doesn't
Yeah.
know. They just keep
Leave.
going on about where is it? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Listen to her. Gosh, she doesn't know. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, mistrusted, value. Yeah, also the intrigue as well was behind his character. I do want to know what happened to his sister and stuff. But with him, I was like, is he going to double cross them? That also added to the intrigue. And you know, when Ivy falls into that hole, it's described as that she lay on her parents' bodies. You all thought that was so morbid. I actually thought they were dead. Like seriously, even the illustration that Carl James Mountford did, it looked like they were dead. And I was like, oh my God, that is actually morbid. The fact, yeah, that one.
Literally all black.
Yeah, it's so dark, so grim. It gives you that feeling that they are dead. Yeah,
I do also want to say with that illustration, what a great job he did in comparison to the actual text, where in the text she's talking about how the mum is all sweaty with hair stuck to her forehead and stuff, and I'm just like, how good is that illustration of a sick woman?
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well done, Carl James Mountford again. Honestly. Oh, Pris, sorry. Oh, bless. Oh, hopefully she's okay. Obviously, but hopefully the symptoms aren't too bad and she's feeling okay. Oh gosh, bless her. So Pris also mentioned there were more of them. So
5 of them, right?
yeah. And I love that.
It's bizarre considering it's the crooked Sixpence and there are 6 members of the Dirge. Like,
yeah.
is then gonna end up being 6 of them?
I think that's why, like,
I don't know.
yeah. And again, that adds to the intrigue, like what's going to happen next. And I love that it ended in a way that does make it feel like this would benefit from more. Because there are some books that do the first book, and I think the authors might not know if it's going to have more sequels or anything. But this one, it could have worked as a standalone. But obviously there was like a lot of things that needed to be wrapped up. But the way it ended, it gave you that hope for the future, but also good. Yeah. So I like that. And so for logic, I gave that one an 8 as well.
I gave logic a 7.
Nice.
And I think I've kind of already explained my big flaw for logic being like, where is the correlation?
Yeah. I think sometimes I feel like Jennifer's built like this really, it's a great world. And it's going to be hard because it's quite imaginative, that it is going to be things like rules within that world that are kind of broken in the narrative. So as you said, with the whole like uncommon, then common comparison and the correlation and things. I don't think there was ever really, as we say for logic, never any moments that really takes me out of the world or anything.
Yeah.
But for me, my gut instinct was just 8 because I think some of the world building rules were broken slightly, as you said. But nothing too glaring, nothing too there weren't any plot holes that I could find or anything, and I wasn't searching for them, but it never made me feel, okay, this is too unrealistic, you know. It felt real. And I think what was great about this as well is the fact that it does incorporate a lot of uncommon items and things like that. That made it feel a bit real because it's like everyday objects, and it felt like there could be another city under London, and you know, it was told in a way that felt real.
Completely. The fact that it's a fantasy world and it's full of magical toilet brushes, it still felt real. Like some fantasy books just do that, don't they? Like you could believe it. Like it's not that far-fetched. Magical toilet brushes, lemon juices that emit light.
I
agree though, there was nothing that like broke the story for me to make me have to stop and be like, well, that doesn't make sense. Other than the moments where Ivy was working things out and I was thinking, but that doesn't explain the lemon squeezes.
You're never letting that go. Maybe it gets explained in another book, maybe, who knows. we'll ask. It doesn't look like the Danish version if the books have the illustrations, which is sad. It really just add a little something extra, doesn't it?
I'll flick through them for you.
Yay. Might as well, especially if you miss out on it, but don't want you missing out on it. Like that one, I think that one's my favorite. I know yours was another one, but I feel like
a lot, but I do like the Wolfie one.
Yeah, I love that one.
So there we go.
Magical.
Was there one of Scratch? I think there was, wasn't there? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, vibrate.
That is Scratch.
Aw, so cute.
He's adorable. He's just a bell.
Yeah, a bicycle bell as well.
The uncommon alarm clock.
Oh yeah, with the parents. Quite a creepy image of the parents there.
Well, the uncommon alarm clock counts down to your fate. It makes sense.
It does.
What about the lemon squeezes? The uncommon glasses turn into glasses.
It does. I'd love some uncommon glasses, actually.
There's the entrance to the manor.
Ooh, spooky. I love it. This is like show and tell. Except we didn't illustrate any of this. This is all Carl James Manford. Oh,
Happily show off his work.
Yeah. Ivy and Seb. And Seb's like 16 or something, isn't he?
The elastic band. The uncommon elastic band.
Hilarious.
Brings out a band. See? It makes sense.
It does.
The ghosties.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, I don't want to say Sabrina saying the candle making you invisible doesn't really make sense when you reverse. But like a candle does light things up and helps you see.
Out the candle to become invisible. You're turning off the light.
Yeah. Turn off the vision. You can't see anything when you blow out the candle.
And considering it's like a Victorian style London where everything would have been lit by candles anyway. Like you turn out the lights and then you can't be seen. I think it makes sense. Makes more sense than the lemon squeezes. And the colanders. Was it the colanders that were the air purifiers? Actually, no, that does make sense because colanders catch things and then let things seep through. Okay, ignore that one. Still the lemon squeezes.
I feel like we need a little cheat sheet of all the things. Oh, he had a bit of a creepy. Yeah, he had a creepy smile, didn't he?
Was it like Jack Hands or something? Johnny Hands.
Like Johnny Hands. Yeah. He was a bit creepy.
He was a bit creepy. Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez. What you'd see on stage. Looks just like her. Oh, Sabrina did correct herself. Sorry in the comments. But it does because of Yeah.
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 But what about the lemon squeezes?
Explain. To be fair, Sabrina did try to explain that before, but then, yeah, trying to make sense of it all, you know.
My favorite one.
Yeah, and Jade's favorite with all of that going on.
The wolf in the whirlpool. And then the dead parents. We've seen that one.
Creepy, morbid.
And then Mr. Hob.
Mr. Hobnob.
Oh. The feather tower. Feather light. What was it?
I can't remember. Featherlight.
It was Featherlight.
Yeah. Wrench Mansion.
The Hellhounds.
Oh, that was terrifying. That was terrifying. Because even just the look of them with the eyes and the teeth and the slobbering of the bottom one as well, you can just tell they're hungry.
Yeah.
I love them.
I love the fact that the bell was just like, Walkies! And then the final of taking the glove.
Oh, wouldn't you just love to have all of these printed, like properly, like Prince of
Yeah.
Carl James Manford's illustrations, it would be so good.
It would be. Anyway, there we go.
Oh, I feel that I sometimes score things too generously because I feel like they've put so much effort into writing it. I feel bad giving it lower. Yeah, you see the effort and the commitment that writers put in, especially with something this imaginative. Like, you just think, like, how do they even come up with these ideas? Because, like, I could not in a million years ever come up with these ideas myself, ever. I'd love to, but I don't think I'm that creative.
Same.
Yeah. Oh, first I was like doggos, but then they did get kind of scary. Yeah, they are quite scary. Can't wait to see more of them. Which brings us to our final rating then, which is enjoyment. And again, I gave it an 8.
I also gave it an 8.
Way, yay! That's good because 8 out of 10, solid 4-star in it.
Solid, and that brings us back to what we said at the beginning. Solid, consistent, 4-star. Only going to go uphill. I only think that the more we read from this world, the better it can get, because we're going to get even more world building, more character development. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Well, it's going to be great. Unless, like, something, like, terrible happens and I'm like, but I don't think it will. So it's like, yeah. So yeah, that brings my final core pal rating to an 8. So, like, that's all 8 ends at an 8. Wow, who would have thought?
Amazing. Mine is a 7.57.
Oh,
So
which is
only
so
slightly
high.
below yours.
No, but it's so high, especially when you think about how many books you rate in the given year. It's like, it's so good. So yeah, it's definitely one of the better ones I've read this month, actually, just I went through the entire month.
Right.
Definitely one of the strongest middle grades I've read this month. 100%. Definitely the most consistent. 8 across the board. Definitely the most consistent as well. Oh, Pris is back as well. Bless her. I'm really glad she's okay. But Pris is about 7.5 as well. 7.5, 8. 7.57 for Maya.
Exactly the same as me.
Yeah, I just felt good instinct in me just said 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. That's what I did. That's what I gave it.
If that's how your gut feels about it, then that's what it deserves.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else I could really say about it. I talked about all the things I loved. There was nothing in it that I hated. Like, there isn't any, like, there wasn't like a bad thing about it, I feel. Some maybe weaker parts, but nothing bad.
Yeah, I have nothing to complain about, and I normally find something to complain about, other than the lemon squeezers.
That's gonna haunt you for the rest of your life now, because I'm just gonna keep bringing up lemon squeezers. Next time I visit you,
I have things that I could bring up that will haunt you, Gavin. Don't.
You're gonna make me wet myself if you say that. So I want to bring lemon squeezers to yours next time I'm at yours. Sabrina read Frost Heart 2 this month. Best middle grade of the year for sure. Crooked Sixpence is up there. That's good, because I agree, Sabrina. But yeah, Crooked Sixpence is such a good one. Yeah, you could, Pris. I could bring up things about you too. Actually, I can't really. You're a golden angel. What made you give 8s and not higher? I just think a 9 is when it's just like, so, like, this is like so close to being like perfect. Like, 9 is like, it just skates that fine line between perfection and like being one of the best middle grades I've ever read. So I really reserve my 9 ratings for something that really blows my socks off. And also because, like, it's very rare for me to give 9s or 10s to a debut or to the first in a series, because I'm still not yet connected, so that's pretty much why, like, 9s and 10s I really reserve for a standalone that blows me away, or a sequel, or you know what I mean. Like, I have to, like, be really invested to bring it up to that rating.
For me, 9s and 10s are like, I had a physical reaction to this. Like either I cried or I was like visibly agitated by something, or like it has to have some sort of like major effect on me.
Yeah, I agree as well. And if it made me laugh so much as well. I think there were moments in this that did make me giggle. I wish I could write my books, because I would have picked them out. But I'm sure there were moments. I think probably with Ivy and Seb's banter, sometimes I think it made me laugh. Can't remember off the top of my head though. Only Frost Talk gets 9s and 10s. To be fair, Pinch of Magic did as well. And I actually think there's certain parts of Core Pile that I would give a 9. So like Atmosphere, I would, if it's like a very atmospheric book, I would give it a 9. Like Pocken and Stubbs, for me, that's like a solid 4-star read for me, and it's the first in the series. But I 100% would give Atmosphere, I might have given that a 10 actually, because it was just perfect, you know. Like there are exceptions to this rule, of making 9s and 10s, but the atmosphere of, say, Pocken and Stubbs, it was just so good, like brilliant, and one of the best I've read in middle grade, that I could not have given it anything less. That just would have been a disservice. So yeah, that's there are exceptions to that, but that's why I would give something a 9 or a 10. And Atmosphere is such a good one to read as well, because it can be not the best middle grade, but the atmosphere can still be really high, you know. So that's why I love the Atmosphere part so much. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really add. Not about Crooked Sixpence. I don't know if anybody has any questions they want answered or anything.
I'm going to say I can't wait to read the sequels. I will definitely be continuing this series, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, there's been some series that we've started during Middle Grade Monthly that I can honestly say I will not be continuing the series. But this one, I hope to continue and finish the series. I am invested.
Yay! I love when this happens, because with a book club as well, it's great when you can find something. Because I know it can always be hit or miss when you pick something up, or when we pick something because we haven't read it yet. But when we do find something, especially the start of a series, it feels like it's going to be an investment in the long run. So it's good that we can pick something like Crooked Sixpence and say, yes, let's continue. When will we continue? Who knows?
No one really knows.
Because we're terrible with this as well. Sometimes we'll start the first book in a series and not read the rest of them for months and months and months.
It took me 2 years to read the last book in Polar Bear Explorers, and I love that trilogy.
Yeah, you do. Wow. 2 years, man. Loved Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison more and book 2, but I think Crooked Sixpence was better than Cogheart. From what I recall, I think I gave Crooked Sixpence a higher rate than Cogheart as well, I think.
I definitely preferred this to Cogheart.
Yeah, similar-ish.
There are definitely some similarities in there. The vibes are quite similar.
Yeah.
I do prefer this one.
Yeah, I think same, I think as well. I do need to finish off the Cogheart series. Like, that's another series that I need to finish.
Same.
What other middle grades would you recommend? We've got so many videos about the middle grade books that we would recommend, 100%. We're a bit of a broken record when we champion our favorite middle grade books, aren't we?
Let me say yours. Yours are Frostheart, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon.
Yes.
You go on about Amelia Fang quite a lot as well.
I have recently, yeah, you're right. And for you, we got a bit Pocken and Stubbs up in here. Absolute number one fan. We have Polar Bear Explorer Club, which you mentioned, like the series. Anything Polaresque, so like North Child as well, is also a one that you would 100% love. And definitely not Keepers of the Lost Cities. Definitely not. 100% not. Just don't even go there. But yeah, we would definitely recommend those books. And I would recommend checking out, like, Jade's done a top 10 middle grade videos in the past few months. It's been a few months now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I did a top 10 and a top 10 to be read. And I've read quite a lot that were on that to be read now and have liked them. So
Good. And we also both would wholeheartedly recommend Orion Lost as well.
I do think, a bit of a spoiler for next month's show, but I think Orion Lost has been my favourite.
Ooh, nice. It's going to be hard for me because some of the, well, it's not a spoiler for me or anything, but like obviously with A Pinch of Magic and A Sprinkle of Sorcery, those were just like a kind of reread, kind of, they're my
That's
favourite
why I'm
anyway.
not really counting them or
Yeah,
because they were both rereads for me.
yeah. So I think we'll do that. Like I won't count A Pinch of Magic then, you won't count A Pocket and Stubbs, because it's just like, it's obvious that those are our favourites anyway. So yeah, I think we'll but everyone else who didn't read them before we picked it, then please do include them. Also, yeah, Sophie Anderson's books. Yes, we would 100% recommend them. Castle Tangled Magic. Yes.
Absolutely.
We both love Castle Tangled Magic.
So much.
So much.
Really?
So we would... Yeah. So I guess that's the end of the live show, guys. It was really fun. Cannot wait to do the next one. We haven't set a date yet, but we can always chat about that and see if it's best to do it before or after Christmas. We could always do a poll on Twitter, see what people would prefer. Oh God, yes, Nevermore as well by Jessica Townsend. Next month's book, there is no book for December. It's going to be a very chilled, festive,
celebration of the year, chatting, reminiscing.
Yes, so if you have been... oh yes, we will be having a bit of a tipple. I'll not be drinking Prosecco though. We know what that does to me. We'll have to stay off that. But I do think so if you haven't read, like if this is your first Middle Grade Monthly, maybe you can chat about the books that you loved, but we will be like ranking our Middle Grade Monthly journey so far. Yeah. So yeah, as Chris said, do go ahead and follow the Middle Grade Monthly Twitter, get all of the information. Getting drunk on eggnog. I've never actually tried eggnog before.
Me neither, but it will be Christmas time, so I will probably actually be whacking out like the gin and the vodka.
Ooh, very nice. We should both try and make our first ever eggnog and try it for the first time on the live show and see what our reaction will be. But also have a backup drink because I don't know if I'm going to like it. So yeah, thanks very much, guys. Do keep an eye on the Twitter. We'll keep you updated. And yeah, it was fun.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you. And thanks to Jade for appearing.
And then disappearing, and then appearing again, and then disappearing again, and then coming back. It's like Jade had a candle herself. Yeah. Jade had an uncommon candle, you know, she kept appearing and disappearing. It was amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Well, bye everyone. Bye.